Hey everyone, it's Jonathan, and welcome to the penultimate episode of our series on Wallace and Gromit. As always, I'm joined by Sarah, Nicki, and Dan, and this time we're looking at the most divisive entry in the franchise, A Matter of Loaf and Death. If you're interested, there is currently an extended version of this episode and Curse of the Were-Rabbit up now on Patreon, and a bonus Tangents episode, as well as an extended version of the final episode on Vengeance Most Foul will be dropping there soon as well. Okay, A Matter of Loaf and Death. So this was the final appearance of Peter Sallis as Wallace before he passed away.
Was he not used in any movies or anything?
Well, he's in Curse of the Were-Rabbit, but that came out before A Matter of Loaf and Death.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not realize.
Yeah, this one came out in 2008.
It was. So this was Christmas Day 2008 in the UK on the BBC channel. It was the programme, I believe, that ran either just before or just after the Doctor Who Christmas special of that year, which was Voyage of the Damned, David Tennant and Kylie Minogue.
But, okay, but you're saying that he did the voice for the Were-Rabbit before this short?
Yes, so Curse of the Were-Rabbit came out in 2005, and this came out in
Okay.
2008. And he lived until, I think, 2011, I want to say?
More. I looked at, he was 2017, he was 96.
Oh, that's right, it was 2017.
Oh, 17, okay, fair enough.
And I only know that because I recently Googled him, so.
I mean, 96 is a good age, though, isn't it?
It is, and it is listed as natural causes, very justifiably.
In terms of a special to go out on,
It's the nudity, isn't it? That's what's bothering you.
I have I have a lot of issues with this one. I wanna like it because it's Wallace and Gromit, but like the vibe that I got off it, and I said this to Triv, is that it feels like it was made by people who knew what Wallace and Gromit was, but weren't sure how to make Wallace and Gromit. There was a lot of moments in this that felt Wallace and Gromit-esque, but didn't feel genuine as a Wallace and Gromit short. And some of the thematic choices in this special also made me feel simultaneously a bit uncomfortable and made it feel less like a Wallace and Gromit special to me. And given that they'd been away from television screens since 1995 at this point, obviously Were-Rabbit was a theatrical release, it didn't feel like so much a grand return to form for me and more a sort of, they felt like they'd just won an award for Were-Rabbit and needed to put something else out to kind of keep the momentum going. Probably the three biggest issues I have with it, I'll get out the way up front unless anybody else has anything they want to say.
Complain away.
Okay. So my first biggest problem with it is the romanticizing between Wallace and Paella. I think they get the balance wrong. Like, I think they did it really well with Wendy because they kind of played it as a little bit chaste and they made it a little bit more British and subtle. Whereas with Matter of Loaf and Death, they go very overt with it. A scene in particular that just made me feel a bit cringy is the bit where Wallace does flamenco dancing with Paella, and then it cuts to a shot of a rising loaf of bread in an oven. And I'll be honest with you, I don't want to think of that whilst I'm watching Wallace and Gromit. Like, I know it can be inferred as romantic intent and sort of blossoming romanticism, but I interpreted it as a completely different thing because it was in relation to when Paella kisses Wallace. It brings a certain striking imagery into my mind, personally. I found it a bit uncomfortable because it's just sort of not handled as well as I think it could have been handled, and it feels a bit awkward and a little cringy in places. So that was point one that kind of threw me a bit because that's the basic premise of the entire plot. So if I'm stuck with that for the full ride, that's going to be a problem. The other aspect was that this is the first short that seems to swap covert references to films, television, and media to overt references to films, media, and television. There are references to Ghost, like overt references to Ghost, where they do the pottery wheel parody, which has been done to death in many, many other films and television programs. So why they did it here, I don't know. Aliens gets a reference, an overt reference that again
It's
just feels
not even a reference. It's like a full on parody of the final battle
Can I just
between
say?
Ripley and the Alien Queen.
Can I just say
yeah.
I've never even watched Ghost, and I got the.
This is the thing. Aliens got a 1-for-1. They, for some reason, do at least 3 minutes from Batman 66, the movie.
Which
Just
I had never seen that when I originally watched that, and we recently did Batman 66 for the podcast, like not too long before I rewatched this. I was like, wait a minute, that's the scene.
Although I will say, I think the ending of this is more explosive, and you're gonna have to stay till the end to see how it goes.
to be honest, when I bear in mind that Peter Sellers, this was his last performance as Wallace, and in that particular scene, there's a scene where he has to say the line, "Watch out, boy, I've got a bomb in me pants." I kind of sat there and thought, do you think that when Peter Sellers was in his 20s, he thought that by the time he was in his 80s, he'd get such star-studded line readings as that? um, yeah. And there was other references. There was things like references to Misery in there from Stephen King and other little bits and pieces that are just, again, given that the tone of these specials up to this point has been to be intelligent and subtle, to suddenly go very overt and I don't want to say lowest common denominator, but like trying to just reach people who, references are all they've got. That kind of felt like a cheapening to me almost of the series a bit, and it really didn't win me over. And probably the final thing that really kind of put me off this special altogether is Fluffles and the treatment of Fluffles. Like they do overt animal cruelty in this, and it's not in like a Looney Tunes way. It's in an actually quite unpleasant and graphic way. Like, I don't want to watch a Wallace and Gromit special and have a moment where there's a whimpering dog being beaten up by a woman and it not, in no way being played for anything other than a very serious event. And just that combination of all of these elements, it felt a bit like it was going low when I think that it was in a place where it could have gone high. And it just, there's a lot of good stuff in this. There was things that I enjoyed, but on the whole, this is the only one out of all of the Wallace and Gromit films and specials and shorts. This is the only one that I got to the end credits and I went, yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch this one again. Or at least it's going to be a very long time before I watch it again.
Yeah, like when I first watched this one, like it was of course years after I'd seen the original ones. So this one I watched as an adult. I didn't like this one when I first watched it. I think I liked it better now, but most of that has to do with because I got the references. Because like when I first watched this, I had never seen Aliens. I had never seen the Batman 1966 movie. So it was fun to watch this and then get those references. But they were also, like you said, extremely overt. And the Alien one, when I realized what was going on with that, I was like, okay, this is going on for a long time, parodying this scene. So I can see why that would be a turnoff for people now. I think what I didn't like about it when I first watched it was because it just does not feel like the other ones. It's darker, it's more violent, there's like straight up murders.
Yeah.
Played for laughs, of course, but like, at least at the time that I watched it, I hadn't seen a whole lot of stuff like that was funny. So it didn't strike me as very funny at all. It had very few moments that was like, oh yeah, that was funny, that was clever. It was just like, I don't know, I just didn't like it the first time I watched it. I did not watch it again until for this podcast. So watching it now, I liked it more than I did back then. So that probably tells you that I really didn't like it back then, since I never watched it again. So, like, it's better than I remembered, but it's still not great.
I would say I'm with Dan on a lot of this, and this was my first viewing of it. So, I mean, when Dan said, "Hey, there are some things that are kind of about this," I kept that in mind, but I tried not to let it influence a lot of my thoughts. But the movie references, like I said, they didn't edit the one good thing about the other Wallace and Gromit shorts is they're edited to a point where it makes sense. It's well put together. It is sharply edited. It's well edited on top of that. This didn't feel like half an hour. Like if you would have sat me down without a clock or without any way to tell the time, I would have assumed this was an hour long. It felt so long, and it didn't do a lot of the stuff that I think it was setting out to do. And I know I'm jumping to the end here, but the way that they take out Paella, I don't know.
It's very Disney, isn't it?
It is very Disney. It's not. It doesn't strike me as if you know Wallace and Gromit, like you do have bad guys. They do get comeuppance that are kind of equal to what the crime is. I don't know. It just for a kid's piece, even from that perspective, like we have no history of it doing this, and just I don't know. It kind of bugged me.
No, I think like I get it, but like the end is one of the things I think that I really did not like back the first time I watched it. I guess it is sort of fitting because she is literally a serial killer. She has literally murdered 12 other humans.
Which is part of your problem with the short, probably.
Yeah. But then at the end, when she is like off screen, messily devoured by a crocodile. Well, I'll probably almost disturbed me the first time I watched it, which is another reason why I never watched it again. Like, it didn't bother me as much now, but it doesn't feel like the other Wallace and Gromit shorts.
No.
I think probably the thing that's I've only just had this realization, but I think probably the thing that causes that stark contrast is that all of the other Wallace and Gromit shorts play with kind of rubber hose cartoon physics and cartoon reality, like Feathers gets knocked off the train, flies through the air, and lands perfectly in a bottle. His entire body's smushed up in the bottle, but his head's popping out the bottleneck. In this, you actually see people get hurt when they fall over. You actually see people get injured, and obviously there's the crocodile finale. And I think that's a sharp contrast, because you imagine if like they did Looney Tunes cartoons where they get running into a tunnel and get flattened like a pizza or something like that, but then like they actually experience pain, like proper pain, and it's weird. It feels like it's almost an episode that's grounding itself a bit more, which is bizarre to say given how surreal the actual episode itself is. But I think
then you also have the moment where he's got a bomb in his pants, and to solve this problem, they pump his pants full of raw bread dough, so that when the bomb explodes, it just bakes the dough, and somehow that shields. Even though his skin is fully exposed at the end, he's still fine.
This is Wallace and Gromit.
I know, but like in the same short, somebody gets messily devoured by a crocodile, which is a realistic thing that would happen if you fell into a crocodile pit.
The other thing too,
I think it's the inconsistent rules.
Yeah.
You do also have like when Paella gets bitten.
Oh, that moment.
Yeah,
that was shocking. Like I forgot that completely.
Right, the fact that you actually see like bite marks, like
that. If this was like an actual realistic movie, that's a good scene. In Wallace and Gromit, I don't like it, but like if this was like a real movie and this is like a reveal of a character, like how sadistic this person is, that's kind of a good scene. Like the way she just looked at him and then bit herself. It's so dark. I don't like it in Wallace and Gromit, but in a different movie, I think that would be a great scene.
Yeah, this is the thing. And I mean, the point where it really properly lost me was sometime around there, and in particularly the scene where Fluffles tries to fight Paella and she just beats her.
Yeah.
Like at that point, that was where I was kind of like, whoa, okay, no, this isn't what Wallace and Gromit are supposed to be. This is supposed to be cheeky chappies having comedy adventures, and yeah, there can be a bit of peril. But
did you make that one up too? I want to know.
Cheeky chappies is a real thing. Is a real thing. You can. Yeah. But no, at that point when it sort of became a bit harsh, that was the point where I kind of went, yeah, this isn't what I watch Wallace and Gromit for. This is just a bit uncomfortable, really. So yeah, that was kind of me. It was a bit of a turn off, honestly.
I would have thought coming into this blind that I would be the one with like, oh, I like it, but I have one or more beefs here, and now I'm surrounded by people like, yeah, no, thumbs down.
Like, that's not to say there is a lot that's good about this. Like, the whole opening sequence where they're delivering bread and doing all those bits. The idea of Wallace kind of falling in with this lady and you not necessarily knowing, what her intentions are. There is some good starting places, but there's so much of it where it just goes off into places that this shouldn't necessarily go. And I'm a fan of exploring characters and taking them outside their boxes. But this was such a, I don't know, I don't know how to describe this. And I'm probably going to come off as not making sense. But it didn't feel focused on Wallace and Gromit. It felt more focused on, I don't know. It was more ensemble cast than it was focused on Wallace and Gromit in my book. A little
If
bit.
they'd wanted to soften it, they could have always just had her like sabotaging businesses or something.
See, that would make
that would
more
have been
sense.
better.
Or
Yeah.
stealing recipes like Willy Wonka or something, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe trying to capture the real estate, so to speak. There's 12 bakers in this city, but there should only be one, and it's me. And she's sabotaging them to put them in a position to buy them out.
Something. Yeah, it could have been a lot lighter than what we're talking about with the, yeah.
You know what we needed? They should have come out with a range of Bob Baker's face bread. Like, just the imprint of his face.
I will say as well, this special did have one of my favourite moments, which is the bit where Wallace isn't paying attention to his bread deliveries. First of all, they're delivering bread like new.
Oh, I know what
which
you're
think
going to
is
say. That's
fantastic.
also my favorite note.
The bit where he goes to throw the bread and he's not paying attention, hits the old lady.
Yes! I about
It's just
died.
perfect.
That's the best scene in this whole thing. The way she is
100%.
animated flying over the fence.
Yeah.
No hitting dogs, but if you're accidentally tossing, okay.
If you're
Elder
accidentally
abuse, thumbs up.
pasting an old lady in the face, knocking her over a fence, that's fine.
But that was more cartoony, where it's like, oh, she's gonna be fine. It's not.
Yes.
It's just played for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they even dub in a little sort of Monty Python old lady moment when she was flying over the fence. Which, yeah. Although Triv did raise a good point off recording about the amount of dialogue in this as well. I don't know, Triv, if you want to flesh that out a little bit
Oh,
more.
I was just going to say that, obviously as you go along, there's going to be a little bit more dialogue because your stories do become more complex. But this was so dialogue heavy. And again, I think that for me, it contributed to how long it felt. But it didn't really move. It wasn't purposeful dialogue. It was just kind of more of the fluff, kind of.
No, there's a lot of dialogue in this, like far more than there had been. Like, obviously, there's usually only the two characters, well, the first two, and then Wendeline was added for the third one. But Paella talks so much more than Wendeline does.
And it was about the amount versus the quality of it. It didn't do anything to like, you could have said half of what she said. You could have cut out probably 5 minutes of dialogue with her and still gotten the exact same result.
I think part of it was like they wanted to explain her motivations, because she like does a full-on villain monologue towards the end, like to explain what she's doing and why she's doing it. And you didn't need that with, well, you couldn't get that with Feathers McGraw or Preston the robot Terminator dog, because they don't talk.
I kind of feel like
the
way you see her like on the balloon flying in, and then you see her in real life, obviously time has passed and, modeling days for her have seemingly gone by the wayside.
I did like her line, "Curse those bakers and their loathsome confections."
With that too, you could have left it at, I had to take revenge for what they did to me and leave it at that, that
Yeah.
you didn't need all of the extra. And I'm not good at scripting to start with, but just, it could have been tighter and maintain the integrity of what it is to be a Wallace and Gromit piece.
It's that contrast, I think, from it being like, as we've said on each one of these, every single one has been a masterclass in how to do silent cinema style comedy where it's show don't tell. And And this is the first one where they actually start telling more than showing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a real problem because it's a bit like they're trying to work in a visual medium that isn't what they're good at. And, again, as Trev says, I'm more than happy to see experimentation. But there are some things that I think should stay in the sort of test room rather than being broadcast live on Christmas Day. Bearing in mind, again, this is Christmas Day. So we're all sat around, half a bottle of Bucks Fizz gone. We've got more tryptophan in our systems than actual turkeys have, which is bizarre.
That is impressive.
The smell of stale sprouts and burnt Christmas pudding are wafting through the air, and I'm treated to the sight of complex feelings about Wallace's emotional balance, parodies of aliens, and Paella beating Gromit and Fluffles in some scenes. And to be fair, I probably would have been drunk enough that I wouldn't have really paid it much attention because I'd be more interested in Doctor Who coming on afterwards. But at the same time, I don't really want that on Christmas Day. I want nice, quirky comedy adventures with my pals.
Okay. A cheeky chappy is a colloquial term for a man or boy who is both cheeky and likable.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I think we can say that both John and Dan are cheeky chappies.
Couple of cheeky chappies right here.
Sarah, does that make us cheeky chapettes?
Almost certainly. Cheeky chaps and
chiquitas?
chapettes.
Or cheeky
Maybe
chicks?
Cheeky chiquitas, maybe.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. Cheeky chiquitas.
I would say one other thing to mention about A Matter of Loaf and Death is the cast. So the woman who plays Paella in this is a lady called Sally Lindsay, who is a northern darling. She's I wouldn't say she's a massive celebrity, but she is very well known in the UK because she played the bartender in a long-running soap opera in the UK called Coronation Street.
I know the name.
She, in that soap opera, is fantastic. And in real life, she's very bubbly and a very nice and charming personality. My personal favourite appearance she ever had was she turned up on a programme for local television in Manchester called Frank Sidebottom's Proper Telly Show in Black and White, where she was just... I'll get the link, don't worry. Where she was just bewildered for half an hour, but went along with this strange show, which really endeared me to her, honestly. Here, I think she plays what she's been asked to play really well. I just don't think it really suits Wallace and Gromit in that way. So, yeah.
I would just say that as of all the specials, this one strikes the least. It has a lot of good stuff, but if you're gonna skip one, or if you don't have time for all of them, I think you could pass this one by and you're not out anything.
Yeah.
But if you're a completionist, obviously check it out.
I will say, actually, I did forget one thing. One thing that I actually really was upset about was the fact that they didn't... They created this really nice romantic relationship between Gromit and Fluffles that I thought was really sweet. Just genuinely kind of nice. Mm-hmm. And they end the special, spoilers for anybody who hasn't watched this yet, they end the special by reuniting them, and the implication is that Wallace, Gromit and Fluffles are going to go off and have lots of many very nice adventures, and that she's going to become a regular character and it'll be a lovely turn of events. She's gone after this, doesn't turn up again, no mention of her, just vanished. Which I thought was a real shame. Kind
of like Wallace's love interests.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, though, because the thing with Wallace's love interests is the vast majority of them, they write into the script why they're not going to turn up in the next one. So obviously Wendy didn't like cheese. Lady Tottingham had her thing around them. It started off as a romantic thing, but I think by the end she kind of moved it into being just friends, which is fair enough. This, they actually kind of set it up as, yeah, she's going to be here from now on, and then the next one's completely forgotten. Not even like it would have been nice to have had like a framed picture of her in the background of something, just so that, that she's still there, in a way.
Or you see her with somebody else, like she belongs to the neighbor now and comes over for treats or something.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, I would have even accepted, like, just in the background of one of the Vengeance Most Foul shots, just like maybe a framed picture of her and Gromit on, like, a cruise or something with Hawaiian shirts, or, just...
I think that Wallace could have survived, though, without Gromit.
He probably would have invented the Gromit bot as a precursor to the Norbot.
I don't think I would have even noticed because, like I said, I didn't watch this one again after I first watched it. So watching Vengeance Most Foul, I didn't even think about it. So then I rewatched them all for the podcast, and I got to the end of this one. I was like, she's still there, but she's also gone now. So they
keep
don't
her in
really
the
end
attic
it.
now.
No.
They don't really give her a proper ending.
No, it's just a real shame because I really appreciated the time they put into setting her up and putting her up with Gromit. I liked that relationship dynamic, and I thought it could be explored further. You know, I like the idea of Gromit having someone in his corner because Gromit gets a really bad hand, not only in all the other specials, but particularly in this one. I liked the idea of giving Gromit some kind of support element for when things are really bad. Because he doesn't really have anyone other than Wallace, and Wallace can be his best worst enemy at some points. So yeah, I was very disappointed that they kind of set that up and then just didn't do anything with it and actually purposely kind of erased it. But then I also think, well, if what didn't particularly go down very well.
You're not complaining about Sean, though. Is that because you know where he ended up?
Yeah, well, Sean got his own really, really happy ending. He gets to go live on a nice farm, and he gets a movie every so often. And one of his friends got a spin-off show as well.
Yeah, Sean, and where the short ended, you kind of felt like he was going to move in, but then you learn later that he moved to a farm, which is more fitting for a sheep anyway. This one kind of ended the same way with her seemingly moving in, but now we just don't know what happened to her.
Until 2028 when Fluffle's movie comes out.
That would be hilarious if Aardman just randomly drops the Fluffles movie.
Fluffle's fighting crime.
That could be a good idea. Now I kind of actually
awesome.
want a Fluffles movie.
Well, you team Fluffles with the new police lady from
Yeah, Makaji.
Yeah. Perfect. That's the thing. Like, I don't even want them necessarily cohabiting, but it would just be nice to know that she's not ended up in the Mutton-O-Matic or something.
I tell you one thing I want to learn how to do that was featured in this movie. I want to put on a flat hat, stick my thumb in my mouth, blow really hard, and have it pop up.
I feel like that's another thing that they've cribbed from Looney Tunes.
Oh yeah, but that's a lot of stuff. I mean, how many of those gags, and they probably pulled it from something else. It's imitation is the most sincere form of flattery.
Yeah. Well, I think that's one of those things where it fits in the Wallace and Gromit world. I don't mean like they've taken it from Looney Tunes in a bad way, because that does fit. It's just in a short that does not fit in Wallace and Gromit.
No.
I think we can probably call A Matter of Loaf and Death done.
I vote in favor of death.
I'm in favor of Loaf. Have you seen it?
Me too.
Very comfy.
I could go for a loaf.
Okay,
Some sourdough.
the loaves have
With
it.
some cheese.
Oh, geez.
Garlic bread or garlic.
Those little
Got some
rolls that
banana
you're talking
bread.
about with the
Banana bread
cinnamon
counts.
roll. Oh, banana bread, yeah.
Mm.
Do you ever make banana bread with chocolate chips?
Oh yeah. Chocolate chips. I've used desiccated coconut as well before now and had like a tropical bread. It's very nice.
Does sound good.
Now I kind of want to put some pineapple and coconut in a banana bread.
Yep.
That would be amazing.
You have your mission if you choose to accept it.
I'm so hungry. I'm fine. I really am fine. But...
We will be back soon with more Wallace and Gromit, but until then, do you want to let people know where they can find you if they'd like more from you, Dan?
Certainly. So you can find me on Letterboxd, YouTube, and Blue Sky. That's at tytdreviews.com. We cover cult and obscure classics in minute detail. Please drop by and say hi. We're currently on a bit of a hiatus on the YouTube front, but we are posting regularly on Letterboxd. So, don't be a stranger. Come drop by and say hi. And thanks again for having me.
And Sarah?
I'm on Redbubble with my watercolors under the name of Turnip Wilson.
And they're adorable.
Thank you. Man, appreciate that.
Woohoo!
I will try and put more on this year. Soon. Hopefully soon.
Hooray!
Thank you. You still need to give yours, don't you, Nicki?
Oh, yeah. So if you want to be a Chippy Chappy or a Chippy Chiquita, wear a flat hat, stick your finger in your mouth, and blow real hard so it pops up off your head. You can check out my YouTube channel at Trivial Theater. I do random, obscure, and straight up bad movies.
Okay, well, we will see you soon for more Wallace and Gromit. Thanks for listening to iHeart Animation. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to subscribe and follow my co-hosts as well. My link tree and all of our links will be in the description below. If you want more of my content, all my podcasts are available on YouTube as well as most podcast platforms. If you enjoyed this show, check out one of the other podcasts or check out my Patreon for bonus and extended episodes you won't find anywhere else. We'll be back soon with another brand new episode, so thanks for listening and we'll see you next time.